Hi everyone, welcome to BCodeTube. In this series, we are building a neural network in both C++ and Python. This neural network is to read the MNIST database, the handwritten database, and detect the digits. And later, we are gonna see the PyTorch, how the PyTorch can work with the database. In this video, we are gonna create our Python virtual environment. We're gonna install Python dependencies, which basically Torch, and Torch installs numpy and pillow. And we are gonna download Eigen, simpleini, and Libtorch. And we are also gonna download the opencv and compile only these libraries from opencv. So first, let's create our project. Let's create our Python virtual environment. Activate. And let's install the dependency. To get PyTorch, we can come to the PyTorch website. Here, I'm gonna use the CPU version. So the CPU, we need to add this index URL. If you don't add, you're gonna install the CUDA version. And the CUDA version is larger, but it's also faster to process. But for this project, I'm use just the CPU. Just copy and paste this into a terminal and you're fine. But pay attention that if you are on Windows, then on Windows you don't have the index. You have the index in the CUDA, but not in the CPU. So pay attention if you are using Linux or Windows. As said before, Torch installs both pillow and numpy, so we don't need to install them separated. Just installing Torch is enough. But now to download the C++ version, we can select here C++, and I'm using this C11 compiler version. I'm not gonna download the download the C11 ABI one. If you are on Windows, download the release version. The debug version is only if you want to develop the PyTorch library. If you're just using it in your project, download the release version. This is the file that downloaded from Libtorch, and we could extract these folders directly into the root folder of your system, but this user don't have permission to use the root folder, so I'm just gonna extract it in my downloads folder here. For the Eigen library, we can go to the Eigen website and just download the latest release version. Here, the file that downloaded. And we also want to extract everything into the download folder. For the Eigen, we do need to open and do something. In Visual Studio, I use this extension to work with CMake files, and I have some settings already defined here. So basically, I like to put everything that I build in this folder. Build dir would be a new folder here inside the project. And every time I install, I ask CMake to install in this folder, which is related to the build one. So we go up one from the build and then install here. That means that it's going to be another folder here inside the project. But the Eigen, we can't just put it here, because when it creates their Eigen config CMake file, it's gonna be related to this folder, and then we are gonna have problems. So for the CMake for the Eigen only, I want to change that the install prefix to the actual folder that we are gonna use later. In my case, this is the folder. If you are on Windows, you have to put the drive, okay, and the correct location. But for the Eigen, put the full path, not just a relative path. If not, the CMake file that it's gonna create later, it's gonna be messed up. So use the full path. So now here we can select the compiler. I want the release version. Okay, now we can select the install and then do build. If you open here the path that you set as the install, go to the CMake and open the config. Here has to be like this. If you put the way it was before, here in the install, it's gonna be here like a install dir, which is wrong. So giving Eigen the full path, then we have here in the CMake the correct location. All right. For the simpleini, we use only these headers, the convert and the simpleini, and we can just download the zip file directly. Here the downloaded simpleini, and we're gonna use just these files. We don't need the rest is just for testing, but let me create here a simpleini folder, and I'm gonna extract them here. Okay. For the OpenCV, once we are here in the website, we open the GitHub page, and I did my testings with 4.6. I did not test the other ones. They should work, but just to be safe, I'm gonna get the one that I tested on, 4.6. Download the zip file. The OpenCV. Let's extract the downloads folder. Open this coding. Here, select the kit. The configuration is done, but we are gonna make some changes. So here in the CMake, we are gonna edit the cached because we don't need all of this. No, the package, shared libs, we need the core, we need the codecs and the proc. But we don't need anything else. Save. It's gonna configure again. But we don't need the build package. Save again. Okay, so just the shared libs and the core image codecs, image proc, and then save. Now, if we select the release, it's throwing an error for this workspace. Copy path and install prefix. I need to pass the full path. Install g. So just for this workspace, and let's configure again. Okay, now we have the builds, and let's build. Okay, it's done. Again, we could just move these folders here into our system folders, but my user don't have access to the root folder. So I'm just gonna move them to a local directory. So this is gonna be my OpenCV. Okay. So now that we have all the dependencies, I can move them to like a dependencies folder in Linux, because later I'm gonna use Windows. And this folder I'm gonna move to my project folder, which is data code 2. So this will be my project folder, but the dependencies is gonna be outside the project folder. It can be anywhere in your system. We are gonna see how to configure the project later, but I just chose to be next to it. Now I'm on my Windows, and I'm gonna set up the environment on Windows 2. First of all, let's open here and let's create the virtual environment. let's activate and Windows, just the CPU version. We just need this guy. And again, it installs Pillow and numpy. So we are done with the Python environment. For the C++, we need the release version. And let's get the Eigen. Let's get the simpleini and the opencv. Same thing. I tested only the 4.6. I didn't test the others, so I'm gonna get the 4.6. Okay. I'm gonna move them to my project folder. Go to the Libtorch. We can just extract. Okay. For the Eigen, we are gonna extract. Let's open here the Eigen. We are gonna open here on Scodium. Here we need to make some changes in the extension settings. Install prefix. I like to use this for my project, but again, if we keep this, when it generates the cmake file after we install it, it's gonna be related to this folder, but we don't want our project to be this folder. So in reality, what we want is to give the actual path that we are gonna install it. So now we select the compiler and we select here release. Okay, I just realized that here I'm in the user, so in the user I do want to keep my install win, but in the workspace then I want to change here for this one. Just to be safe, I'm gonna reconfigure again. And now I select the install target and okay, and here we have the Eigen library. We check here, we go to the cmake folder, we open this file. So if here we had the install win or install dir, if you depending on your configuration, if it's like this, there was a problem. We need this include dir to just be the include Eigen. If not, then have to recompile here with the correct settings. Okay, the simpleini, we just need these files. Let me put them here, and new folder, simpleini, move them here. And for the OpenCV, we need to extract the folder. Okay. Okay, let's open on VS Code. So let's select the Visual Studio and release. Okay, but we know that we needed to make the same change that we did on Linux, which is we can't have a relative path here. So install win, copy path, and in the extension settings, install prefix, change workspace. It has to be full path, and I already know that we are gonna need to change the build stuff, so let's already change it here. We keep the shared libs, and we keep the core, we keep image codecs, image proc, okay. With that we can save, and it should restart the configuration. It didn't pick the change. Let's try to select here again. Okay, now we have the targets, and yeah, we select the install and we can build. Okay, it's finished. We have here our OpenCV. So now I can change here OpenCV and move it here. The last, so Eigen, Libtorch, OpenCV, simpleini. I can just create a new folder, dependencies, Windows. Okay, now we have our dependency Linux, dependency Windows. I can remove these guys because they are not our project. Okay, now we can start our project. If you enjoyed the series, please leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what you think.